According to the American Psychological Association, the average person will end over 400 relationships in their lifetime. But you didn't just end them. You erased them quietly, completely, without looking back. And here's what nobody around you understands. You don't feel sad about it. You don't lie awake at night wondering if you made the right choice. If anything, you feel lighter, clearer, more like yourself than you have in years. So the question isn't whether something is wrong with you. The question is, why does walking away feel more like coming home than losing something? Today's psychology is going to answer that. And what you're about to hear might be the first time someone has finally explained you back to yourself. Let's go back. Because you were not always the person who cuts people off. There was a version of you younger, more open, who believed in people deeply, who showed up, who stayed, who gave second and third and fourth chances, because you genuinely believed people would change. You were the one they called when everything fell apart. The friend who answered at midnight. The family member who kept the peace when no one else would. The partner who absorbed everyone's pain like it was your job. And for a long time, you wore that like a badge of honor. But here's what nobody saw. Every time you gave, something small inside you noted it. Every time you were taken for granted, noted. Every time you were lied to, manipulated, used, dismissed, noted. Your mind was keeping score long before you were. And then one day you didn't pick up the phone, and the world didn't end. It got quieter, and that quiet. It felt like the first full breath you'd taken in years. That moment, the moment you stopped picking up, wasn't weakness. It wasn't you giving up on people. It was your nervous system finally doing its job. Dr. Stephen Porges, one of the world's leading neuroscientists, developed something called the polyvagal theory. And it explains everything. Your nervous system has 3 modes. Social engagement, where you connect, trust, feel safe. Fight or flight, where you defend yourself against threat. And the 3rd mode, the one most people never talk about, the dorsal vagal response. Shutdown, withdrawal, stillness. This isn't depression. This isn't antisocial behavior. This is your nervous system making a calculated decision. These people cost more than they give, and pulling you back from the edge before you collapse completely. Your brain learned, through experience, that certain people are a drain on your system. And now it protects you before you even have to think about it. That instinct you feel, to go quiet, to pull back, to disappear. That is not dysfunction. That is survival intelligence. But your nervous system didn't learn this overnight. For most people, this pattern began somewhere they rarely want to look. Childhood. Maybe you grew up in a home where the atmosphere changed without warning. Where you learned to read a parent's face the moment they walked through the door, scanning for mood, tension, danger, before you even said hello. Maybe love in your house came with conditions attached. Maybe closeness always seemed to lead to pain. Psychologist Murray Bowen studied this pattern for decades and called it emotional cutoff, the way a person learns, early in life, that the safest place is distance. That connection is unpredictable. That being alone is more controllable than being close to someone who might hurt you. And so, you adapted. You became sharp, observant, self-contained. You learned to need less, because needing people had taught you that needs go unmet. And now, as an adult, every time someone gets too close, that same blueprint activates. Not because you want to push them away, but because somewhere deep inside, closeness still registers as risk. This is not a flaw in your character. This is a map your younger self drew to survive. The question is, are you still living by a map that was drawn during a war that is already over? Now here is where it gets important. Because not all cutting off is the same. There is a difference, a significant one, between walls and boundaries. Walls are built from fear. They block everyone, the toxic and the trustworthy. The ones who hurt you, and the ones who never would. Walls say, nobody gets in, not because people have proven themselves dangerous, but because you stopped believing anyone could be safe. Boundaries are built from wisdom. They are selective, conscious, chosen. They say this specific person, with these specific patterns, no longer has access to my energy. Boundaries don't keep love out. They keep damage out. The CDC released data showing that chronic social isolation raises the risk of heart disease by 29%, and stroke by 32%. The science is clear. Complete disconnection from people carries real physical risk. But here is what that same research confirms. The quality of your connections matters far more than the quantity. Being surrounded by people who drain you, dismiss you, or diminish you is not connection. It is a slow, quiet erosion of everything you are. So if you cut someone off and felt relief, that is not a red flag. That is information. The real question is never whether you should let people in. It is which people have earned the right to stand in your space. Here is something about you that most people completely misread. You don't cut people off randomly or impulsively. You do it because you have become extraordinarily good at reading people. That person who only calls when they need something, you spotted it early. That family member whose love always comes attached to judgment, you mapped their pattern years ago. That friend who pulls you in close, then disappears. You saw the cycle before it even finished. A 2023 study published in Nature. Neuroscience found that people who experienced early emotional stress developed significantly heightened activity in the brain's threat detection centers. In simple terms, your early experiences didn't just hurt you, they trained you. Researchers at the University of Iowa found that the frontal lobe, the region responsible for complex social decisions, works at a measurably higher level in people with this background. You are not paranoid. You are not too sensitive. You are processing social information at a depth most people never reach. That quiet knowing you feel when something is off, that is not anxiety. That is thousands of hours of lived experience compressed into an early warning system. And it is one of the most powerful things about you. Society has a word for people like you. Isolated, withdrawn, antisocial, cold. But every one of those words assumes something is missing from you. That you are incomplete without constant noise and constant people. Let me offer you a different word. Solitude. Loneliness is wanting connection and not having it. Solitude is choosing peace and meaning it. You are not sitting alone wishing someone would call. You are sitting in your own space, finally able to hear your own thoughts without someone else's chaos drowning them out. Your phone is quiet, and that quiet, the quiet that used to feel like rejection, now feels like relief. The people who don't understand will tell you that you're running away from something. But you know what you're actually running toward. Toward stillness. Toward clarity. Toward a version of yourself that has room to exist. That is not isolation. That is sanctuary. If you've watched this far, I want to say something directly to you. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not cold. You are not heartless. You are not incapable of love or connection. You are someone who learned, through real experience, through real pain, that not everyone deserves access to your energy. And instead of becoming bitter about that lesson, you made a quiet, fierce decision to protect what you have left. Harvard's 75-year study on human happiness, the longest of its kind ever conducted, found one single defining factor in a fulfilling life. Not wealth, not status, not how many people showed up to your birthday. The quality of your close relationships. Not the number, the quality. So if your circle is small, if it fits in one hand, or barely at all, but the people in it actually see you, actually know you, actually stay, you are not doing life wrong. You are doing it more honestly than most people ever will. Protect your peace. And if this felt like something you needed to hear, share it with someone who needs it too.